Meanwhile, a part of Mr. Trump's Thursday speech has some people in his own administration scratching their heads. Listen to this.
We're knocking the hell out of ISIS. We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let the other people take care of it now. Very soon. Very soon we're coming out. We're going to have 100% of the caliphate, as they call it, sometimes referred to as land. We're taking it all back quickly. But we're going to be coming out of there real soon.
We're going to be coming out of there real soon. But the thing is, a senior administration official tells CNN they're still trying to figure out exactly what Mr. Trump meant by that. Even the Pentagon was caught off guard. They had just warned the campaign against ISIS requires a sustained military presence. Here's Peter Mathews, political analyst and political science professor at Cypress College. Peter, good to talk to you. Is it a good time to pull U.S. troops out of Syria?
Well, you know what? He just ordered the suspension of $200 million worth of Syrian recovery aid, which is not good either. And I think that it's going to give Russia the advantage. They're going to be able to have more influence in Syria, although they have had it for many, many years, with the U.S. having a lot of influence in Israel. So it is a balance of power issue, and I think the president ought to be going more step by step instead of just all of a sudden saying, I'm going to withdraw just like that. There should be reciprocal agreements.
But look, it doesn't sound like Mr. Trump just hasn't thought of the consequences. He says, let the others take care of it. I mean, it sounds like he is willing to let Russia, Iran, and even the Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad, take just complete control of the situation there.
And those three forces are aligned, definitely, and the U.S. is supporting the side that was supported by more of the Sunni Arab nations. So, you know, he talks about America first, right? This is part of his America first idea, but he's got to do it in a balanced way when he's around the world. The U.S. is committed around the world. It cannot just all of a sudden do herky-jerky type of actions of moving quickly to places that we don't know which it will lead to. It's got to be more measured, and I think the president has to be more careful about this. But it looks like he's determined. He was very surprised. People were surprised. All of his close advisors were very surprised of this rather quick move.
But this is totally consistent with what candidate Trump said throughout his campaign. He was all about go in, defeat the enemy, then leave. And now he's saying pretty much the same thing.
Except in Afghanistan, where he says we should stay there longer now after saying we would get out. So he's just been totally inconsistent on terms of long-range, visionary foreign policy. That's the problem. He doesn't have real visionary foreign policy, which we have to have as a global power, as a country that leads through example. We've got to really have a much more long-range vision from our president especially. And I don't think he's doing that, and he doesn't have the capability. Plus, look at his assistants. All of the people that could have helped him to do this are gone pretty much. He's been dismissing cabinet members, you know, just like that, left and right.
And the person he's bringing in, actually, John Bolton, who should be his next Secretary of State, is actually somebody who had argued in his more recent columns and pronouncements that Syria was going to require a sustained presence. I wonder, is Iraq or should Iraq be a cautionary tale here? Because the U.S. left Iraq saying we can't stay involved forever. And then the void that was left, especially in the Sunni tribal regions, was eventually filled by ISIS.
And that goes further back than that. The U.S. should never have attacked Iraq in the first place. As you know, there were no weapons of mass destruction. But when it did do that, it also disbanded the Saddam Hussein military forces and left those people unemployed. Those gave rise to, you know, radicalization and ISIS actions. So I think that it hasn't been a thought-out policy based on facts, starting with George W. Bush. It's about time that things get straightened out, but I'm not looking forward to President Trump to doing it at this point.
Look, let me pivot you to what's going on in Russia, and especially they demonstrated today, or they showed video of their new missile that NATO is calling Satern 2, which can strike anywhere in the world and has a shorter path to striking the U.S. by going through either the North Pole or the South Pole. Is that something that worries you?
Not really, because you shouldn't link that with what's happened with the Russian spy that was ostensibly killed by perhaps Russia. This has to do with much earlier planning. In December, the first test of Satern 2 occurred. And also goes back to the ABM Treaty of 1972, when the U.S. and Russia signed a treaty allowing each side to leave themselves vulnerable to a counterattack. It's called mutually assured destruction, or deterrence. So neither side would attack the other one first, knowing there would be no defense on either side to defend against a counterattack, and they'd be wiped out. That's what kept the peace all this time. President Bush decided to withdraw from the ABM Treaty just when he first came into office. He gave a 6-month notice because he wanted to build a defensive system. And I think that kind of destabilized the balance of power and the balance of forces. And this is an attempt of Russia to come back and say, look, if you build ABM or missile defense systems, we can penetrate them anyway. So it's basically a wash. I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, and Vladimir Putin, it's true, has always said that this particular new technology has been in response to what the U.S. has been doing.
That's
Peter
right.
Mathews, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Always. Thank you, Cyril.